What's going on, guys? This is Badass Revere, and today I'll be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Infinite series Grim Reaper. This is part of the Ant-Man movie series, and pretty cool figure. Definitely happy about this new body mold. However, there are some pretty stiff joints on this guy, so hopefully that's not a common problem with this, which usually it's not. It's probably just my figure in general. But I think it's a really cool character, or a figure. Definitely pretty happy to finally get this guy. I had the Marvel Universe Infinite series version of him, and I was like, this guy's pretty cool, and pretty much they just upscaled it with the new mold that you see here that's between the Bucky Cap and the Hyperion mold. So that's pretty cool. I definitely think it's a good mold for a lot of new characters, and for characters that like Captain America, because I think they definitely need to have a much beefier Captain America. The other ones are really not up to size, I think. But anyways, really cool. I like the scythe over here. Obviously that's the main weapon that Grim Reaper uses. Nothing too special. It's pretty much just brown plastic. It kind of looks like it has some kind of, maybe it's the type of paint they used on it, but it looks pretty cool. It doesn't really have any shading or anything like that, but it's got some screws here that are sculpted onto the hilt, I guess is what you want to call it, or the top part of this thing that holds the blade in. And then you come down to his arms. There's some sculpting here, but nothing too crazy, and then they have some more sculpting there. So nothing special. It's pretty much just gray plastic in the shape of a scythe. So that's cool. Taking a look at the head. I mean, I appreciate that Hasbro will give us characters with like different facial expressions, because you don't want to just have like a bunch of plain face looking characters, but man, they go pretty crazy when they make head sculpts with these kind of expressions, like the Wrecker head sculpt, and now this guy. He looks pretty crazy. The eyes are very dull looking, and the grin is just maniacal. Almost looks like it could be used as a Joker head if you wanted to. But yeah, the face sculpt's pretty cool. Definitely crazy looking, and obviously it's brand new. He's got the little, I guess, horns or whatever you want to call this on the side. So that's pretty cool. We'll leave that off for a second. You can see pretty much it's just a lot of sculpting in the form of muscles and whatnot, and he's got some veins over here on his arm, in the bicep area. Very nice definition. It looks very skin tight on his suit, which is kind of weird, because it's like, man, they go around in these costumes and they just have like really skin tight looking costumes. So it doesn't look bad, but it's just kind of weird. Sometimes I wish they would just kind of make it like a plain looking suit where it was all just plain, like no sculpting of muscles and whatnot. Maybe in the legs would be fine, but I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion. Like, sometimes it'd be nice to just have them look like they're actually wearing a suit and not have it painted over the abs and stuff like that, if that makes sense. But pop the head back on. He's got the new cape here, which I've heard a lot of people complain about. I think the cape's okay. This is the same cape they used for the new Vision, which I actually think is pretty nice. It looks cool. Again, it's very narrow in this area here, which is kind of strange. I wish it maybe flared out a little bit more, but it works good and it doesn't flop around or anything. I hear a lot of people complaining that it kind of rides up on his neck and whatnot. I think that might just be how, like, the plastic being bent upward, because mine seems to fit pretty okay. I do wish it kind of went around the neck fully, but I think for the most part it looks pretty good. And the paint wise on it, I think it looks pretty nice. It's got some black shading going throughout the purple, so it gives it a nice shade. It looks pretty cool, so I can't really complain too much about that. It just pegs into the back here, and just like with the Vision, it has a little peg sticking out of the cape, so that way it keeps the cape kind of pushed away from his upper back, so it doesn't like just look like it's kind of sucked up to his back, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Other paint detailing, he pretty much just has these gauntlet things here on this side of his arm painted on. He's got this open hand here, which I wish they would have just made it a fist, because he doesn't really have anything to hold. So it would have made more sense, I think, to have a fist, but you know, it's whatever. The line work on here is pretty good. It doesn't look like there's any sloppy looking lines. I mean, they don't look completely straight, but they're not terribly bad. And then for the most part, other than the skull up here, which mine has some scratches and stuff on it, so that kind of sucks, but other than that, he's pretty much just this really dark blue, which I think looks pretty good for the most part. And that's pretty much it on him, and then the rest of it's just all sculpting. But it's definitely a nice figure. I'm pretty happy to have this guy. I don't know too much about the character. He was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I was thinking to myself that, man, this would be a cool guy to have. I kind of wish he looked a little bit more like that, but this will do. I think it's pretty fine. He looks maniacal and definitely gets the job done, so can't really complain. And I'm happy to finally get this guy and check out the new body mold that they have for these bigger characters. So hopefully we'll get a lot more characters, hopefully new characters that will use this, and hopefully they turn out good. But in terms of articulation, it's pretty much just the same as Bucky Cat mold. The head is on a ball peg and a swivel, or a hinge, I guess, so it can go up and down, rotates 360 degrees. He's got slight head movement. I'll get him back a little bit so you can actually see. The arms can go in and out, and again, mine's just really stiff, and it has a really hard time going in and out. This side not too bad, but it seems like either it's rubbing up against something or it's just really stiff. But be careful, because I wouldn't want this to like break at the bicep. So we'll take a look at this side, because it's pretty much the same. So the arms go in and out, they rotate 360 degrees. He's got a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. The scythe does rotate, so that's nice. I know the MU version of him was very annoying, because you kind of had to keep his scythe in this kind of pose, so it kind of looked goofy, because you couldn't have it down or anything. So it's nice that they incorporated a swivel, but it does that. And it obviously does the same on this side, but it has a hinge. He's got the ab crunch, which goes forward and then goes back. The cape's gonna end up hindering it, because it's gonna hit on his legs, so but that's not too big of a deal. He's got a waist swivel. His legs can go forward and back, in and out. He rotates at the upper part of the thigh. Double jointed knees, a hinge in the upper part of his shin here, and then a hinge in the foot, as well as an ankle pivot. So overall, very cool figure. I was pretty happy to find that this guy was going to be released, because I definitely thought he was a cool character in the Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And I don't know too much about him. I don't know if he's necessarily like an Ant-Man villain per se, but definitely cool and nice to have in the collection for your rogues gallery. So if you don't have this guy yet, definitely check him out. I think the wave overall is okay. This is definitely one of the figures you should probably get out of the wave, along with Bulldozer Wasp and the movie Ant-Man. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more figure reviews coming from this wave, and check out my previous videos of other waves and stuff like that. And I'll talk to you guys later.